Okay, hi everyone. This is Ashish Kyal here. Welcome again to Elliott Wave News Channel by Ashish Kyal Trading Gurukul, a learning series by Wave Strategy Advisors. And we are going to discuss about Nifty and what's happening over here with Nifty. Are we going to see that 9350 levels again? We broke below that 9040 mark in the previous week. We went to the low of 8800, but we did not break that level and we bounced back again from there. So overall, in a nutshell, in the entire week, we have been dragging across in a sideways market. So let me just give me 1 second. Okay, I forgot to record, so let me just do that. And so in the past week, we have just moved in a sideways market, and there has been absolutely no trend. It just moved within a range, and there have been people who have been bullish on the market. There have been people who are short on the market, and either ways, it has been probably ensuring that your stop losses are hit either on the upside or the downside, and that's very tedious, right? You have been waiting for market to start a trend. We expected that there is going to be a downtrend, but it just did not materialize, and market reversed after touching that low of around 8807. And if any one of you attended my training session of the past webinars of last Friday, you remember the levels, the zone that I talked about. Anyone remember that zone? What zone did I talk about is important to keep a watch on. I did not tell a specific level. I mentioned about a zone. 9350 definitely was one of the levels I talked about, but I mentioned also the zone of 8800 to 9000. If you remember, I drew it on the chart. Absolutely, Vikram, Rahul, absolutely, Hemant. We have mentioned on the chart 8800 to 9000 is the zone which we want Nifty to break decisively for the momentum to start and for the wave C to start on the downside. But unfortunately, it just went there. It made a low around 8807, if I remember correctly, and it reversed back on the upside from those levels. So that clearly indicated that the downfall was limited. It has not carried any kind of a momentum. Now, the major reason, the way I see this is happening, is because there has been an upward push from the global markets. If you look at the global markets, they have been trying to push the markets on the upside, and we can clearly see Nasdaq is just inch away kissing that lifetime high levels. Now that is very interesting. We are in a pandemic event, which is like a black swan event, and Nasdaq has been inching towards lifetime high. Now that is what the markets are all about. The least number of people who expect that to happen will happen. So when you expect everything to go in one direction, it will never happen that. So the less number of people expecting a scenario to take place, it works out that way. Again, if you look at it, we India has been declared the worst of the performing markets across the peers. If you are tracking news, you know we have been an underperformer across the peers, right? If you look at the overall movement of Nifty, we have not gone up. We have not even retraced 50%. And look at those US markets crossing about 61.8% retracement. Bank Nifty has failed to go even about 38.2% retracement of the entire fall, and the world markets are inching higher. So there is a stark underperformance from our markets in comparison to what is happening in the global financial markets, and that is the reason there is a tug of war between bulls and the bears, and it's not heading anywhere. So this is the most challenging environment. If it goes up, then at least you can make money in a trending market on the upside. If it goes down, you know you need to short and make money. But if it's stuck in a range, you get whipsawed in either of the direction, and that's the problem. There is also one very important aspect I'm going to talk about today. I follow a very important time cycle method and time forecasting dates. So those time forecasting dates are going to be very interesting, and that time forecasting dates suggests that coming week we are near that cycle low. Now, if that cycle low kicks in, which means that the cycles will start putting upward pressure on the prices. Now we have been bearish during this period, but instead of price correction, there is time correction that we are whipsawing in the market. So there is a time correction which we saw and not much of a price correction. So corrections can happen in either ways, the time correction or price correction. Time corrections are most difficult and challenging to trade, I'm sure about that. And the price correction is actually good for traders because you can easily make a lot of money in that short stinge of time. So that is how the markets are always, right? You want something to happen, it does not happen. Now, very interestingly, today was RBI policy, which was, I think, not scheduled, and there was a 40 basis point cut on the repo rate, and that resulted into a negative close again on the market. So can you imagine a negative close after the RBI cut the repo rate again? So if I remember correctly, in entire 2020 markets, even if it closed positive, it failed to close near the day's high post the policy announcement happened. So there has been a very interesting aspect where markets are closing negative or away from the day's high on the downside post the RBI policy announcement of rate cut happening. If you go back in history and check when there was rate hikes happening, markets were continuing to rally along with the rate hike. Now that is contradictory, but that's how markets have behaved all the way. The good part is so far in today's announcement that they have extended the moratorium period, and this is going to help a lot of people because there have been a lot of SMEs, and we talked about that there was no probable uh, action taken by our FM in order to smoothen out that pain from the entrepreneurs, SMEs, MSMEs, and those kind of industries. So today's pain point was addressed in RBI policy, and I think that's going to help a lot in order to improve the NPS. Now, if you have to look at a positive aspect of it, now there are always two ways to look at it. So if the overall social mood is negative, you will probably try to look at the negative aspect of it, that the increase in the moratorium is going to put pressures on the banks and recovery of the loans and all of those things. But if you are looking at from the positive aspect of it, the NPS will be down because of this moratorium extended, and people will able to be cope up with the ongoing pandemic and economic slowdown. So that's always a contradictory. There is always two sides of the coin. If the overall market corrected sharply on the downside, the news headlines that you are going to see tomorrow will be that the markets corrected post the RBI policy announcement and the moratorium extended, and they will are going to pick up something out of it which is negative and say the overall outlook was very pessimistic, and they are accepting that we are in a stringent downfall in terms of economic activity, and that's why market closed negative. Now, if someone wants to make it a positive and market close positive on Tuesday, which is a working day, next working day, with the headlines that you will see that the market cheers action by RBI and the rate cut happening. So that's how the news headlines will change based on the market movement. So it is the market that moves first and the headlines will follow later on. And that is very, very important. So you cannot trade markets by looking at what the news are coming out, because it's like driving a car looking at rear view mirror. As I always say, you can't drive a car looking at a rear view mirror, and that is very important for you to ensure you are looking at certain patterns and charts which is helping you to understand what is the overall direction of the market. Now, if over past 4 weeks, I'm not sure if you have looking at the weekly chart. If you look at the weekly chart, in past 4 weeks, not a single weekly close has happened above the prior week's high. Are you aware about that? Not a single weekly close has been above the prior week's high. So there is no positive weekly confirmation yet. If you look at the daily chart, that is also one very, very interesting aspect. So I'll show it to you on the chart. It's going to be very interesting. So we have been maintaining the stand that markets are sell on rise for quite some time. And I think next week is going to be very important. And maybe don't be surprised if I change my stand from sell on rise to buy on dips. Yes, as a trader, you need to adopt based on the market scenario. The cycles were in sell until next week, and now it's going to turn into a buy side. And when that happens, majority will be taken by surprise once the trend starts. So you need to be ready and alert. I'm not turning bullish, I'm not turning bearish right now. I'm going to ask certain questions to you, and based on those questions, I'm going to be probably making you come out with the levels. Where do you think markets are headed, like I do always? So stay tuned. Let me share across the chart. But before I show the chart, I'm going to poll a very interesting question right now. I'm going to launch a poll, and I want from every one of you to answer in which direction you think Nifty will close in the coming week. Is it going to move up or it's going to move down? I want you to vote. This is going to be very interesting. I'm going to share across this voting with each one of you, and that's very, very interesting. Okay, the results I'm seeing is simply fabulous. If you would have been able to see it, it's going to be amazing. So the voting is still ongoing. Let me just wait. Let me just wait. And it's a very interesting aspect that I am seeing, and that's a classic indication of what's happening in the market. That's a classic indication of what's happening in the market. And voting, I'm still waiting for a few more to vote, so we are yet to complete that voting. I want whoever has not voted, please vote. You can see the polling ongoing, and you are supposed to vote right now. And once this is complete, I'm going to share across the result. So what do you think, majority of you, what do you think will be the outcome? Are you able to see the outcome? I doubt you are not able to see the outcome. What do you think will be the outcome? Based on what should be the polling result? A few more are still left. What should be the polling result? Okay, Prashant is saying 50-50%. Naresh is bullish. Mustafa is down, 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 up. It's going to be interesting. So a few more who have not voted, please do that. Uptrend, downtrend, you can clearly see, right, what's happening here. Okay, so let me end the polling. The polling suggests that we are 70. Okay, so let me share the percentage. Okay, some of you are still voting. Let me just wait for 2 more minutes. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. And that gives you a very clear perspective on what do you expect markets to do, right? 55% of the people are bullish and 45% of the people are bearish. I'm again repeating, the 55% of the people, I'm ending the poll. I've ended and share. So 55% of the people are expecting an up move and 45% of the people are expecting a down move in the coming week. Now that gives a very clear indication, right? How it's going to behave, how it's happening, and what is ongoing in the markets, which means that we are not headed anywhere and everyone is confused. Bottom line, it's not going anywhere, and it's like everyone, half of us is bullish, half of the people are bearish, and we are just waiting and watching how it's going to happen. So that's a very, very interesting aspect out of whatever we have polled so far. So let's now just go on the charts, and that's what we are going to see it on the charts as well. Okay, it's a doji, absolutely, Charanjit. That's a classic answer. We formed the doji, indecisiveness. That's what the charts are also reflecting. Let's go back on the chart and see that. Okay, if you are able to see my screen here, if you are able to see my screen here, and you can clearly see, okay, let me go on a full screen. Do you know what level is this which I have marked with a line? Can you tell me what level do you think is this one which I have marked with a line right now? What do you think is the level that I have marked right now? 9350. Absolutely. You guys are fabulous. You already know what markets are doing, right? 9350 is the level. That's the average. The mean of this, if you look at the mean, it's classic. What is the lower end of this range? I'm going to see, my entire intention is to empower each one of you with the outcome and not tell you the answers. If you become empowered, the best thing you can do is you do it yourself. That is what is most important, right? So what is the lower end of this? Can you see that this is the lower end of the range? And can you see that this is the upper end of the range? Probably this was the high, so this becomes the range. I'm just drawing a midline, and this is the lower end of the range. So can you see that where we are moving? We are in that range, absolutely range bound, without going in any specific direction. And that is the reason our polling results shows 55% bullish and 45% bearish. That's a very clear indication. And as someone pointed out, you can clearly see that's a doji, right? You are seeing a doji formation today. Yesterday as well was a doji, and that clearly suggests an indecisiveness in the market. Now that's a very, very classic information that you can get, which means for a decisive move to happen, we need to see a break above this 9350 level first, and then followed by the upper end of the range. Or for the down move to start, we need to see a break below this low. This low level, I'm going to shift a bit, and this low level is 8,800. That's the range where markets have taken support many number of times, and this is no different. Last week we discussed about this. Last week we talked about a diametric pattern, and we are witnessing absolutely same thing happening even in so far. And for the coming week, we are going to derive certain levels, and you are going to do it for me right now. I'm not going to do it you are going to do and derive the level. So I want to empower each one of you, and I'm sure you are enjoying the way I am doing it, addressing this webinar right now. Let's go on an hourly chart and check. If you have attended any of my trainings, Master of Technical Analysis, MOTA, or Master of Waves, which is on Elliott Wave, Neo Wave, or Mentorship, which is complete for the Feb one, which we started, or the ones which we are going to start in June 2020, you might already be aware that this is what I always keep talking about. So the first thing that you have to do is take a trend line, connect the tops together, and take a parallel to the bottom on the downside. This is the most important way in which you can probably look at the market. So this is the overall market. Okay, let me just remove myself from here. This is the overall trend direction that you can see on the markets, and you can clearly see that overall it's drifting on the downside. So it's not strongly downtrend, but it is definitely drifting on the downside. And if you remember, I have told that we will maintain our sell on rise strategy all the while, and that's what is happening in this market right now. You can clearly see it is sell on rise. Every time it goes up, it starts coming down. It goes up, it starts coming on. That is the direction of the market. So yes, Ajay, this is an island reversal that we saw on the upside. The move on the downside, it came very close to that channel support, and then we saw a bounce back happening on the upside. So this is a very, very important channel. Now, based on this channel, can you tell me which level on the upside you think should break for positive trend to start? As I said, I'm not going to give you answers. I'm going you to derive those answers for me. So as I said, I'm working remotely. I'm not in Mumbai. I'm working in from Lonavala. I have a resort, Cloud9 Hills Resort. It's in. We are not taking any guests, so it's quarantined, but it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's simply awesome, and that is the benefit I have. I can move around place, so that's the beauty of it. So okay, so we were talking about. Okay, here I am back again, and I'm so sorry for that. Can't help it. That's the infrastructure we are living in. As I said, uh, I'm using a Vodafone hotspot in order to go live on the webinars, and you know what to do with Vodafone if that's the service that they offer. I'm not going to say much, but that's how it's the infrastructure that we have to live with, and hopefully it should improve with us moving forward in the economy. That's the hope, and let's just do that. I tried with Geo, but the Geo has frequent disconnection, so I don't want to get onto Geo. I tried with that as well. So let me again go back and talk about uh, the chart. Let's go and share the screen. So really appreciate everyone's patience, but I can't really help. I can't do anything about it. So what levels, again, I'm repeating the same question. I'm not sure if you guys answered or not. What levels do you think is going to result into a positive break? Please answer fast before I get disconnected again. Otherwise, you will keep answering it. I keep getting disconnected. So that's not a good sign. Okay, on the upside, the answers are 9350, 9160, 9150. Okay, if I have to tell you 9150 is this level, you think that break above this level will start the positive swing on the upside? You think that's going to happen, or you need a confirmation about something else? No, right? Because if you break above 9150, you still have that resistance of the channel kicking in. You need to wait for the uptrend to break this upper trend line, and that break of the upper trend line comes to around the zone of 9250 levels. Absolutely, Nagesh, you are bang on. 9250 is where the levels get broken on the upper side of the channel. Once that level gets broken on the upside, we know that the trend on the upside is starting. So now you have the level. So 9250, 9350 is the zone that you have to keep a watch on in the coming week. Make a note of it. 9250, 9350 is the zone that you have to keep a watch on, based on very simple method. Nothing, no complicated, no science, no rocket science. Everyone can do that. Okay, on the downside, there is little trick. Why? Because if 8810 gets broken on the downside, this is the support level. If you can see it on the chart, That's get broken on the downside, then we can head towards that 8,600 mark, but we will not probably go further low beyond 8,600 levels, because that is where the channel support is kicking in. Also, one important aspect is that this is a downward sloping channel. So the more amount of time we consume sideways, the more possibility of going down opens for from here on. So what is important for you to observe is these levels on the downside is 8,800 if we are managing to break this zone. So let me draw that zone chart right now. So this becomes the support zone on the downside, and 9250 is this level which becomes the resistance zone on the upside. So that is how you have to look at the markets. Once you have that zone, now you can probably develop your trading strategy around that zone. Are you with me? So this is going to be very important for you to understand from the wave perspective. So I'm not going to talk about exact trade setup because this is a free learning series and for educational purpose only. So use it for that way. And I'm going to also talk about what is the overall wave pattern that we are looking at in the market. I think we are forming some kind of a complex corrective pattern. I'm going to talk about that complex corrective pattern right now. Let me just share across an open pane and share that complex corrective pattern with you, which pattern I think is forming on Nifty. By the way, just give me a second. What is the complex corrective pattern? I'm going to talk about it for someone who understands it. Okay, before we move on further, I'm going to share across a very interesting thing. Tomorrow I am talking for 2 hours on Elliott wave, how to trade using Elliott wave pattern. Tomorrow the webinar is going to be starting at 11, and it's going to be for 2 hours of time frame. So anyone who wants to register for this webinar can do that over here. So I'm going to share the link. You can probably, I think you will be able, okay, I'm not sure if you're seeing the link. Okay, are you able to see the link? So this is for tomorrow's webinar. I'm going to be conducting for 2 hours. If you want to register for that webinar on how to trade using Elliott wave, you can do that. Great, Om, great to see you that you have already registered. I'm sure many of you have already received that invite. Tarun, fantastic. So this is for tomorrow's webinar. Okay, let me now go back on this chart and share across the pattern based on Elliott wave that we are seeing right now. Okay, just give me a second. I'll just share across my paint over here. And what we are seeing is going to be very, very interesting. And I'm going to draw that over here. And I'm sure you are following me on Twitter. It's Kyal Ashish, and Telegram is AK Trading Gurukul, because that is where I keep sharing these charts across. So if not, then please do share it across. Uh, we will. I'll share across the webinar link on the mail as well, so that whoever wants to join in can join in. Uh, Okay, over here, so I'm going to talk about from the top that we formed on the market and how we are behaving from those levels. So after the top which was formed near, if anyone remembers what was the top, I need answers from you people. What was the top that was formed on the market? You need to give me answers. What was the high made by the market? What was that level? 9,885, right? 9,800, 887, around that zone. Post that, we had a sharp fall on the downside. After that sharp fall on the downside, we continued to move in a very, very corrective fashion. We came down, we went up again, and then we again moved a little bit down, then up, then down, up. This is how we behaved, right? And then we came back down. Then there was a very huge sharp gap up opening. We went all the way over here, and then we started falling again on the downside, right? So that's how we behaved on the chart. So this is how we went down, and now we are again witnessing some kind of a move up, then some consolidation here, then the sharp rise, and then in today's session we are right now here. Are you able to relate it to the ongoing Nifty chart? I'm sure it resembles a lot on what I have drawn right now with Nifty, right? That's interesting. So what I think has happened is we completed something like an A correction here. I think we had a B here. Maybe we had a C on the downside. We had an X on the upside. The another pattern which looks very high likelihood, there are two possibilities. I'm discussing one of the possibilities right now. I'll discuss the other possibility in my morning research report. financial wave short-term update. I'll explain the key levels also there. I think this is one of the possibilities. We completed A, B, and C. This became like a D, and we are right now wave E. This is looking like an extracting triangle to me over here, and this extracting triangle should is was followed by a zigzag pattern over here. So we are zigzag and a triangle pattern, which looks like a W, an X, and Y correction. So anyone who probably understand extracting triangle will understand what I am talking about. I'm not going to get into much detail about what is extracting triangle. You can get it from my webinars or probably Master of Waves or Elliott Wave series. You can get it from there. So it looks like we had an A down, B up, C down, and X up. A done, B done, C done, D done. We are right now at this zone. We are right now here. Where do you think is going to be a confirmation that the uptrend has started? Now again, I am asking you the same question. Can you see that? Let me connect using a line here. And can you see that this is absolutely up to the mark, right? I am sure this looks exactly like what Nifty is. Taking out D in faster time, two-stage confirmation. If you remember Neo Wave, anyone did Neo Wave with me? I'm sure a lot of people from mentorship also here. You did Neo Wave, yes, absolutely, Rahul, fantastic. Sazi, Arjun, Sanjeev. It looks like most of the people who did Neo Wave are here. So you can clearly see the two-stage confirmation will be obtained. Pranita, great to see you as well. Will be obtained once we see a faster retracement of the last falling segment, and that last falling segment was from the high. So that's going to be very interesting. Let's go on Nifty chart now and check where do we get this level. So we get the first stage confirmation or the two-stage confirmation about this level, but at the same time we have some resistance kicking in from the complex corrective pattern. So if that resistance acts and we move down, then this rise becomes only wave X and the downtrend will resume. But if we have a faster retracement above with over here, and the reason I am talking also on either direction, because next week I have a very important time cycle forecasting date. And that's why I'm saying that there is a possibility. I'm not ruling that out. If we retrace back the entire fall in faster time, it's going to be a very fast move, and we will see that. If in case we have a slower rise and a faster retracement on the downside, the downtrend remains intact. Now that's a very interesting aspect. Let's go on the chart and check that. Okay, so I don't have much time. I'm already shared a lot of things. So let's just go and check. This looks exactly the replica of what I have drawn. Isn't it interesting, right? You can clearly see a down A, B, C, an X wave, probably an A, B, C here, somewhere around this zone, a D leg on the upside, and we are right now in wave E. So a faster retracement about this followed by the channel break will be a positive indication on the upside. If this becomes a slower rise from here on, then this will be another wave X and the downtrend will continue. Now you have to tell me, if the downtrend continues, do you see the levels on the downside? I don't want to give you the levels. I want you to derive the levels. As I always say, I want you to participate and derive the levels. Can you tell me, where do you think is the downtrend going to continue till? 8,800 first level, fantastic. If that gets broken, 8640, around this zone, this support level, right? 8,500, 400, where is the channel support coming? Fantastic, guys. And where do you think is the uptrend? If the resistance around 9250 to 9300 is taken out, where do you think we are headed? Don't you think we might fill in the gap on the upside? And that's the attempt that markets can make if there is a move. 9,700 Anshul, fantastic. That's where we might head in case that upside breaks up. Absolutely. So that's how you should form a trading strategy. Does it make sense? Does it make sense what I have talked about right now? Fantastic, guys. So you don't really need me. You just need a focused attention on the chart, and you know how to trade the markets. Okay, that's how the markets are, and you should be trading the markets looking at these charts. I hope these kind of webinars are helping you. And in case you want to learn a lot about how do I look at the markets, how do I trade the market? See, I'm a guy who keeps trading a lot of stuff, keep experimenting, lose money, make money. But whenever I lose, I ensure that I lose very less. There was a mail someone sent across to me saying that it seems Ashish Kyal never loses. I said, I never claimed that. Did I ever say that you should be 100% sure? In the last webinar, if you remember, I in fact talked about that you can never be 100% sure, right? If you remember me talking, if someone claims that you are 100% probable, you are going to be doomed if you remember what I talked about. So that's going to be very interesting, right? What about overall diametric structure for B as we discussed last time? Okay, Sanjeev, that's a very interesting question. Let's just look that diametric structure again on the chart. So where is the screen gone? And let me just share across the overall. So I talked about a short-term pattern right now. You can see my chart. Let's go on a diametric pattern. Okay, there is a possibility. One of the possibilities is what we are discussing right now over here. Looking at the slower fall, there is a possibility that we had a contraction on the upside, and now we are witnessing an expansion over here. This is how the diametric looks like. So it looks like A, B, maybe a C, D, and wave E on the upside. This can be wave F, and now we have G pending. Now that's the problem. The reason this has to be adopted is because the move on the downside is overlapping and slower. Had it been faster, I was open for G over here, completing in a truncated format, and a faster down move should start, but that didn't materialize. So that opens the possibility that we are still in wave F and the G should start. And Bank Nifty is very similar to the same structure that we are talking about. So that's how the overall pattern looks like right now. And I have one more possibility of wave X and complex pattern, which is I'm going to showcase in the morning research report. Pharma index, I'm not sure, Murugan, I will be able to take Bank Nifty, Pharma, and all those things. Probably you can get access to the research report since you are asking those things. Let me share across something very interesting with each one of you. This is the website, wavestrategy.com. If you can check here, you can go here. There is a summer offer which we have launched, which is valid only till 25th. So wavestrategy.com, there is a summer offer. You can click on the summer offer. And once you go there, you will see all the details about various research reports. So there is equity report, Nifty, multi-bagger stocks, and a lot of those research that you can find out. And you will get access to those research from here on. If you go up from here on, correction is over. I think F is over and the G will start on the upside if we break that level in a rush, and cycles are forming lows in next week. So I'm going to be keeping a very close watch on the cycle. So if you want much detailed explanation on Bank Nifty, I'm writing about Bank Nifty in the coming research report. So you can get access to Bank Nifty, Nifty, and under the summer offer. This is valid only till 25th. For any doubts, you can always reach out to the numbers given over here on the website. You can call on this number. So that's one way of doing it. Also, the another thing is the mentorship batch is starting in June 2020 by 20th of June. If you are interested for 3 months program and you think that this 30 minutes or 45 minutes can give so much of insight, and if you think 3 months is something that you are able to devote your time, efforts in order to get what I'm trying to communicate, that's a fantastic way of learning, and you are going to learn a lot of things from that mentorship program. And it's an ongoing learning. Even after 3 months, I am accessible on the Telegram group, so you can definitely do that over here. Kishore, you can just drop an email and my team will get in touch with you with all the details and everything. Absolutely fine. So we will discuss that. And also one very important aspect, again, so today there were a lot of registrations. So to be very honest, we had a lot of registrations happening in today's session, and the markets just simply, not the markets, I'm so sorry, the website crashed. The market did not crash, the website crashed because of so many registrations for webinar happened in today's session, for today, not for today only, but for tomorrow's session of 2 hours on Elliott wave pattern. So if you want to register for the Elliott wave, you can definitely register it over here. I've just shared the link again. You can do it over here. And at any point of time, if you have any difficulty registering, you can always call us on 99204 22202. So that's the thing. Okay, there is a Q&A question. Let me answer that. I'll not be able to discuss Q&A, gold and silver because of the time constraint. You can get the views in the commodity research report that we publish. When is the next sell cycle kicking in as per your calculations? I think, Sazi, you are super bearish. You just want to short the market because shorting the market gives you the max amount of the money in the shortest possible time. I do understand that, but I think the next cycle will kick in. At least first let it form a bottom. Once the bottom is in place, then we will talk about the next cycle low kicking, next cycle top kicking in. So let's see next week, Sazi. I'm going to publish that in research report. I'm sure you're already having access to my research. Why hourly chart only for Nifty? I'm not sure, hourly or 15 minutes or daily chart. So you can use any of that charts. Uh, your opinion, could there be a possibility that there may be a turn out of the neutral triangle with the current move? Rajesh, I would suggest you post your query on the traders forum, wavestrategy.com. There is a traders forum. This is a long question. You can post it over there. And is 7511 the low is finally in? No, I don't think so. I think we are going to bounce back. The bear market is ongoing. The bounce back is going to be a pullback in the form of wave B. Post B, I'm still in for C. So nothing has changed in terms of the bigger perspective. But post B, the C will come. B is not yet complete. That's the problem. So we need to write this B now for C to take place on the downside. Can you use Hekineshi charts? You can use anything that works for you brilliantly. Don't wait for me to tell you what works and what does not work. It works. Everything works if you believe into it. So do anything and everything that works for you, and that's going to be very, very important, right? And I'm going to share across what I have drawn on the paint on the Telegram channel. AK Trading Gurukul is one of the channels that you can join in, or you can join me on Twitter at the rate Kyal Ashish. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for every videos that I share across. You will get an alert. Share it across. So YouTube channel is at the rate Kyal Ashish again. Today's low is lower breakout. Can this be considered to stay bearish? As of now, unless I see a close above the prior day's high or a prior week's high, it is still on rise market. So the Tuesday is going to be important. The reason being Tuesday and Wednesday, we are a cycle level. I'm showing that cycle in my daily research. So please refer that. We will see wave B ending. B is ongoing right now, so we are not going to see that. Higher side target for this wave, Milan. I'm sorry, I can't disclose everything. This is educational. I can't do that right now. Okay, fantastic, guys. Then I think I've that's it for today, and it's going to be very interesting tomorrow. We are going to be discussing a lot of things about Elliott wave pattern, focusing on how to trade using patterns. So see you tomorrow, many of you, and thank you. Have a wonderful time. Stay safe. Stay at home. The entire lockdown is going to be relaxing, but it's time to be more cautious, more alert, both from the lockdown perspective and also from the markets perspective. You should not be complacent anymore. Markets are going to show a very strong trend by next week. So stay tuned. And this is Ashish Kyal signing off from here on. Thank you very much. You can visit wavestrategy.com and join the Telegram channels and groups as I have discussed, or the mentorship class, which is going to happen in June. Look forward to speaking there. Thanks a lot.